the life of mathematician. Let's start by saying that, of course, work and live are two of the most fundamental experiences for human, and when you say work and live, you have to define and qualify what you mean. When you live, it may be a variety of things. It may be just survive or live comfortably. It may be live short or long life. It may be live sad or happy, live poor or rich, live and have offspring that will, so to speak, continue the business of life. It may be live in a stable or rich way. And in particular, nowadays, when people say that they want to live a lot, they mean having a lot of different experiences and various points of view, visiting many places and so on. Of course, if you try to put a ranking on the scale of the global experience, some of these issues may contradict each other. If you want to never suffer, then you should never fall in love, and then you may be missing something which is important. And if you travel in many countries, you may risk your life, but if you don't travel, you're also missing something, so you have to find a trade-off. And because there is the very thing which is is many trips and discussions. To this day, I have traveled to more than 50 countries for giving mathematics lectures, giving public lectures in mathematics, and meeting people everywhere. I think my son changed school 9 times just to follow me in various places. So he was in school in London, in Lyon, in Paris, in Princeton, in Berkeley twice, in the south of Paris now, and so on. For mathematicians, there's also a lot about listening, talking, and understanding. And these may be some of the best moments in the life of a mathematician. Those that subject of probability theory and everything that is related to Gauss distributions, you know, these bell curves which arise about everywhere in science as soon as there is statistics. And there I was at home reading a course in advanced probability theory, very advanced, written by a probabilist from Toulouse, in relation with, let's say, the interplay between geometry and probability. This lecture, this course had been recommended to me by a member of my jury who was a specialist of mathematical physics, an American who had a position in engineering. And I had met this professor in Toulouse, and there I was reading this course, and at some point I thought, wow, there are some keywords which I know, and then I saw a theorem which was proven in the course, and I thought there has to be a relation with the lecture which I saw 2 weeks ago in the Paris area from that German mathematician who was trying to solve the problem of linear diffusion with a probability. And I thought there has to be a link. This theorem here, I think I should do it in a different way using the ideas from that lecture on that German
Now my voice is reaching millions throughout the world. Millions of despairing men, women, and little children. Victims of a system that makes men torture and imprison innocent people. To those who can hear me, I say, do not despair. The misery that is now upon us is but the passing of greed. The bitterness of men who fear the way of human progress. The hate of men will pass, and dictators die. And the power they took from the people will return to the people. And so long as men die, liberty will never perish. Soldiers, don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men, machine men with machine minds and machine hearts. You are not machines, you are not cattle, you are men. You have the love of humanity in your hearts. You don't hate, only the unloved hate, the unloved and the unnatural. Soldiers, don't fight for slavery, fight for liberty. In the 17th chapter of St. Luke it is written, the kingdom of God is within man, not one man nor a group of men, but in all men, in you. You, the people, have the power to create machines, the power to create happiness. You, the people, have the power to make this life free and beautiful, to make this life a wonderful adventure. Then in the name of democracy, let us use that power. Let us all unite. Let us fight for a new world, a decent world, that will give men a chance to work, that will give youth a future and old age a security. By the promise of these things, brutes have risen to power, but they lie. They do not fulfill that promise. They never will. Dictators free themselves, but they enslave the people. Now let us fight to fulfill that promise. Let us fight to free the world, to do away with national barriers, to do away with greed, with hate and intolerance. Let us fight for a world of reason, a a world where science and progress will lead to all men's happiness. Soldiers, in the name of democracy, let us all unite!
But today I will talk about mathematical visualization models. And you see two rapid prototyping models that I recently made. Why is geometry so useful in so many different fields? It's a power tool for seeing patterns. And discovering patterns is really the basis for true understanding. For my sculptures, for instance, I find such patterns in inspirational artwork by more intuitive artists. And then I capture them in the form of a computer program. But seeing patterns is really something that happens in your mind. So in this talk, I will introduce you to ways of seeing things in your mind that cannot be seen in just an ordinary way. The left figures may look like 6 triangles or maybe a hexagon with some internal lines. But if you rotate this figure in 3 dimensions just a little bit, it suddenly starts to look like a 3D cube. This is a simple example of an image that is composed in your mind. And here is how our high school teacher introduced us to seeing mathematical objects. We start with a very big point, and I'm sure everybody can see it. But now there's a somewhat smaller point. Can you still see it? Go on, are you blind? Say yes. Oh, good, good. Phew. Much smaller point. Now, who can still see that? Raise your hand. Oh, good eyesight. All right, much smaller points, tiny point. Who can still see that one? Amazing. And now a mathematical point. Now, who can see that? Those are the true mathematicians, okay? Because it's in your mind. You know where that point is, and it's infinitely small, but you have no trouble seeing it. Now we use the same kind of mathematical seeing to go from a single point to a 4-dimensional hypercube by a process called extrusion. And for that, I will have to put on my magical gloves. Now I start out with just a mathematical point. And you know it's infinitely small, but you know where it is. It is right here. Can you see it? All right, now because I have these magical extrusion gloves, I can grab this point here and I can stretch it into a line. Okay, everybody see that mathematical line? So now I try to hold this line with just one hand, and here it is. Okay. Now again, I grab that line from the top and I do my magical extrusion into a square. Everybody see that square? Back corner here. I can lay it flat onto my hand. Now again, I take my magical extrusion glove, I touch it from above, and I pull the whole square up like that. What do I get? A cube. You're right. So here's the cube. You can see it. I can rotate here in 3 space. Now comes the really difficult step. I want to now take this cube and extrude the whole cube into the 4th dimension. Okay, and that's a little difficult. Okay, and maybe you can understand why this is difficult by an analogy by looking at flat lines. Let's assume for the moment there's a plane, and in the plane there are these 2-dimensional birds, and they're bound to the plane. They can only move in the plane. They cannot cross each other or any objects. However, they're mathematically smart, and they know about regular polygons, even though they cannot see them the way you can see them, because they can only walk around them, measure their length of the sides, measure the various angles, make sure that all of them are the same, and then they understand what a regular polygon is, and now they can see it in their minds. But one day, a visitor comes from the 3D world and tries to explain to them what a cube is. She says, just take that square and move it upwards. No, not diagonally, really upwards. And upwards means a direction that is perpendicular to both of the edges of your square. And those flatworms, they scratch their heads and they have a hard time of really doing that. But, the smarter ones, they get it. Says, yeah, I can see it must be out there somewhere. Okay? So they have the same difficulties that we have when we try to see the extra dimension for the hypercube. And perhaps out there are some four-dimensional aliens, and they're looking down on us, and they smile at our efforts of trying to point into the fourth dimension. No, that's not it. That's just diagonal in 3D. But anyhow, the fourth dimension is out there. Let's go back and look at some more beautiful geometry that we can actually see it, the Platonic solids. Those 5 Platonic solids, the tetrahedron, the octahedron, the cube, the icosahedron, and the dodecahedron, have been known to mankind for more than 2 millennia. They're all totally regular polyhedra, and that means that all their faces are indistinguishable. They're all the same, all the edges are the same, and all the vertices are the same. Now, the surfaces of these objects are composed of 2-dimensional regular polygons. But in 2 dimensions, there are infinitely many of these 2-dimensional regular polygons. They go from triangles to quadrilaterals to pentagons, all the way up to infinitygons. Okay. But in 3 dimensions, there are only the 5 regular polyhedra that you see here. Now, who knows why? Who could prove that to their colleagues or maybe to their grandmother? In order to construct the surface of a Platonic solid, which is made from these 2D polygons, so that they form real physical 3D corners, you have to use at least 3 of those polygons. And then with 3 of these polygons, we can make some kind of a corner. Okay? So if we start, for instance, with just 3 squares, we can fit 3 around a joint vertex. And now we forcefully try to close this open gap. And we cannot do it in 2 dimensions. But if we allow to go in a 3rd dimension, we pop out this 3-dimensional corner. And that's a regular cube corner. And 8 of those corners make up a cube. We could also do that with starting with 3 pentagons around the joint vertex. And then we would get the dodecahedron shown at the bottom. Now we can see why there are exactly 5 Platonic solids. When we use triangles for our surface facets, we have a choice. We can either use 3 triangles forming a 3-sided pyramid, or we can 4 around the corner, or 5 around the corner. If you use 6 triangles around the corner, it gives you a flat kind of kitchen floor, okay? No longer a polygon. So we have 3 options for triangles. But when we use squares, only 3 squares work. By the time we add a 4th square, again, we have flat tiling. And with pentagons, 3 pentagons work and form the dodecahedron. Any higher n-gons are useless. Hexagons just make a flat tiling, and if you take heptagons or higher, then they don't even fit around the corner anymore. Okay, if you got that, then here is the test. Now we take a leap into the 4th dimension. We apply exactly the same kind of thinking to answer questions. How many regular Platonic polytopes are there in 4D? So how can we find out? Well, the key insight is that we need to use these regular Platonic solids to essentially make the surface or some kind of a thick crust of these 4-dimensional objects. Okay. And now we have to see how we can form 4D corners out of these 3-dimensional Platonic solids. So we took a few regular n-gons that did not quite fill the space around the vertex, and then we forced this gap to close. Now we do this 1 dimension higher. We'll take a few Platonic solids,